chaos in Democrat-run cities like Portland, where Antifa has been allowed to spread disorder for years. But when we turn our attention to Texas, a deep red state, the picture changes dramatically. FBI Director Kash Patel announced today on X that, for the first time, the agency has arrested individuals identified as Antifa-aligned anarchist extremists on federal terrorism charges. This brings us to the indictment itself. Cameron Arnold and Zachary Evitz are both accused of providing material support to terrorists, attempting to murder U.S. officers and employees, and discharging a firearm during a violent crime. This marks a historic first. Antifa-linked suspects facing federal terrorism charges, and it all happened in Texas. But this isn't just another arrest story. It's a model for how red states are now using the rule of law to dismantle radical networks. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how Texas succeeded where others failed, and what that means for the future of MAGA and American governance nationwide. For years, critics claimed it would never happen. They called Antifa just an idea. Even late-night hosts like Jimmy Kimmel mocked the very notion, insisting it didn't exist. Others on MSNBC went so far as to argue, if you're against fascism, then we're all Antifa. But just days ago, that narrative collapsed. Two individuals, Cameron Arnold and Zachary Evitz, became the first alleged Antifa members in U.S. history to face federal terrorism charges. And it happened in Texas. On July 4th, at the Prairieland ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, a coordinated group of more than a dozen people dressed in black military-style gear and body armor launched what Director Patel called a planned attack intended to kill police officers and ICE officials. These were not random demonstrators. Court documents show they conducted surveillance, exchanged facility maps marking security cameras, and coordinated logistics through encrypted group chats. One member even said he'd bring a wagon to carry rifles and armor. They used fireworks as distractions while spray painting traitor and ice pig on vehicles. When a police officer arrived, one of the attackers shot him in the neck from a hidden position in nearby woods. By God's grace, the officer survived, and at least two of the attackers have now been charged as domestic terrorists. Attorney General Pam Bondi stated, "As President Trump has made clear, Antifa is a left-wing terrorist organization, and they will be prosecuted accordingly." What makes this case historic is the scale. FBI Director Patel revealed that more than 20 arrests have been made in connection with this Texas case and related Antifa networks. This is not about one isolated attack. It's about dismantling an organized structure that prosecutors now describe as a militant enterprise made up of small, coordinated groups. Under President Trump, the legal framework has changed significantly. Where past administrations treated such acts as ordinary crimes, federal prosecutors are now applying terrorism statutes, the same laws once reserved for foreign terrorist organizations. But that leads to a larger question. Why is this happening in red states like Texas, and not in blue states like Oregon or Illinois? Why do we see cooperation between red state governments and federal law enforcement, but little of it elsewhere? Red states like Texas operate by a fundamentally different value system than blue states. Conservative governance is rooted in a belief in order, a clear structure of authority where law enforcement has both moral clarity and political backing. This sense of order isn't oppressive. It's liberating. As G.K. Chesterton once said, it's the kind of order that allows good things to run wild. Studies by scholars like Brad Wilcox at the University of Virginia have shown that conservatives are statistically happier because they view life as ordered and purposeful. That sense of meaning leads to fulfillment, and, over generations, to social stability. This is also why red states have far higher fertility rates. Populations rooted in faith and family, those who see children as sacred and life as guided by a moral order, naturally grow and thrive. Meanwhile, communities that reject such meaning often stagnate. In red state culture, government is seen as a guardian of what is good. Faith, family, and freedom are inseparable. That's why, when Governor Greg Abbott deployed the National Guard ahead of a planned Antifa demonstration, it wasn't just a security move, it was a clear message. His administration is committed to defending law, order, and the moral good. By contrast, blue states follow what political scientist Stephen Levitsky calls competitive authoritarianism. In cities like Portland or Chicago, bureaucracies are ideologically captured. They no longer enforce constitutional governance but push political agendas instead. The result is confusion, overlapping jurisdictions, conflicting policies, and a loss of public trust. You'll find mayors granting privileges to favored activist groups, defund the police movements embedded in local government, and prosecutors backed by George Soros applying double standards in the justice system. These contradictions create enforcement gaps, and decentralized networks like Antifa exploit those gaps. Texas, on the other hand, is succeeding because it fulfills the most basic purpose of government, understanding the difference between good and evil, and using constitutional authority to defend the good and punish the evil. Meanwhile, leaders in cities like Portland or Chicago seem unable even to define basic truths, let alone govern effectively. Returning to Texas and its cooperation with federal authorities, this is only the beginning. The FBI is now working to dismantle Antifa completely, from street-level actors to their financial and organizational networks. It's the same playbook once used to take down organized crime families and terrorist cells, now applied to political violence. The only remaining question is how soon other red states will follow Texas's example. Because as this case shows, when the rule of law is applied with precision, resolve, and cooperation, even organizations once dismissed as imaginary find themselves facing real consequences. So what do you think? Will red states like Texas lead a renewal centered on faith, family, and freedom? Let us know in the comments below.